Greetings Indie Warriors and welcome to I Dream of Indie. I'm Old Gamer Joe bringing you another review today. Strap on your Schecters, we're looking at 3D roguelike guitar shooter Metal Tales Overkill on the Nintendo Switch.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
If you've been following I Dream of Indie for a while, then you might know that I'm actually more of a grunge rocker myself, but I have always enjoyed a bit of metal here or there. I loved some of the early Metallica offerings like Master of Puppets, and I've even dicked around in some hardcore bands when I was younger that had some metal influence. It's a fun genre, often known for its breakneck speeding riffs, crunchy distortion, soaring lead guitars, but unfortunately when it comes to Metal Tales Overkill, every note comes out kind of flat. As you begin the game, you'll be greeted to just a handful of options. You can start a new tale of metal in single player, play the game in co-op, check out some extras to learn about some of the bands featured in this title. There are some licensed musicians here, and then there's an in-game options menu where you can adjust just a few things, like whether you want the crosshair to be shown, an adjustment for the gamma, pretty bare bones stuff. The game features 4 different characters for you to pick between, 2 of which will need to be unlocked, and they all have unique statistics from one another, such as life, speed, and damage output. The other characters appear to be unlocked by beating certain bosses in the game. I was unable to do so, but more on that later. The game sets up a story told through comic book panels, which ultimately end up being the best visual aspect of the game. This over-the-top story involves former guitar gods being transformed into monsters. These monsters are now forced to play riffs forever, which results in a spreading of their evil to concert goers, and now it's up to you, the sole survivor, to stop this spread and save humanity. The story is about as good as it sounds. It doesn't really go any further than that. There's no dialogue that I came across in levels. There's no real lore to collect. This is pretty much what you get. It's not going to take very long for your sane anger to start rising once you hit the game's first load screen, which feels like waiting for Guns N' Roses to make a new album. The third level of this game loaded for so long that I literally got up, took a dump, finished, washed my hands, came back, and it was still loading. Don't believe me? Here's the load screen for level 3 in real time with no edits. Drink a coffee and give it a go for yourself. Once you are finally dropped into the gameplay, you will be brought back to the year 2006, because yes, this one looks like an original Wii launch title. At least the Switch version does. Bland environments and enemy design are accompanied by a zoomed out camera, which means you can't make out any of the details even on your characters. These poor graphics aren't really helped all that much by the jerky, unresponsive gameplay. It could best be described as Binding of Isaac with a metal skin and without any of the fun. You'll move from room to room shooting out beams of energy from your guitar, grabbing upgrades which will sometimes make your beam bigger or faster, and occasionally running into a shop where the items aren't all that well described, so I honestly didn't even know what the hell I was buying half the time. Some of the upgrades that you'll stumble across are just ridiculous, like the one that speeds your character up. This actually made the game harder. Come on! As you travel from room to room using the game's poorly designed map, you will be attacked by random fans. These are the ones that are possessed by the evil, which I outlined in the story part of this review. They'll all be yelling, "Hey!" over and over again. I think I heard a few other grunts here or there, but that was it for the most part. Hey! Just imagine if someone yelled, "Hey!" every time they were about to attack you. At least it would give you a heads up that the attack was coming. Outside of blasting these brainless fools down with your guitar beams, you'll also have amplifier bombs that can be dropped, and you'll collect some other abilities for beating bosses. These are often in the forms of summons, where some random dude pops up in the middle of the screen. Sometimes they rain down electricity, other times I could swear they did absolutely nothing. Your main goal is going to be taking down the boss at the end of each level. Sometimes you can stumble into the boss room within 2 doors. It happened to me a couple times actually. They say the game is randomly generated, but I swear when I was playing co-op with Silent Signs, we saw the same rooms multiple times laid out the exact same way. Maybe it's not quite well implemented, though I guess it's possible that my mind was just playing tricks on me. While most rooms are going to lead to more enemy encounters, you simply need to clear those enemies out. You'll occasionally come across a trap room as well. If you dodge blades or other obstacles, there's a treasure, generally speaking, in the middle of that room, and that's going to have some sort of upgrade that can presumably help you. As for those boss encounters, they are pretty atrocious here, with lame brain attack patterns only made difficult by poor frame rates and a glitch which crunches the musical track. This seems to be some sort of weird memory leak issue or something. If I was a member of one of these bands, I'd be pretty pissed. It sounds absolutely horrible. Take a listen. For those of you that are somehow able to endure this piss-poor gameplay loop long enough to make it to level 3, you'll be greeted to an outdoor area with a frame rate that, based off of the naked eye, can't be higher than the teens. Spoiler alert, I never advanced any further in the game. I've played over 800 games for this channel, and I've had my patience tested many times, but one thing I've learned is that time is precious, and this title isn't fun at all, so why waste my time? Did you happen to die in level 3 due to the game's poor frame rate and not from any actual challenge? Tough luck, bud, it's back to level 1. There is an upgrade system as you earn points across these levels by completing certain tasks, but these upgrades didn't even really help all that much and were often too expensive to even purchase. It's a tall ask to have players repeat the same 2 areas ad nauseum and then cheap out on the currency. What a mess. While I am struggling to think of too many positives to say about this game, I will say that when some of these musical tracks work, they're pretty decent. You really don't get any fully fleshed out compositions unless you're battling a boss, but there are some cool bands on here. I haven't heard of all of them, but I've heard of a few. You have Striker, Hyperion, Blacklist 9, just to name a few examples. A lot of these bands are from 2014, 2016, but credit the developer for getting some pretty cool metal acts on here. I suppose I will also tip my hat for including a co-op feature at all, but honestly, to what avail? Now 2 people are going to be unhappy together. Yeah, overall in the end, Metal Tales Overkill is just a complete cash grab of a game. The claim is made that levels are procedurally generated, but when playing with Silent Signs, I'm confident that they weren't always randomly generated. You have 6 levels in total, which it's unlikely you'll see all of them. There's 8 different bosses. These did appear to be random, and really, most importantly of all, you have better options in games. There's a lot of roguelikes out there. Unfortunately, the cool metal skin kind of goes to waste on this one. I feel like starting a mosh pit. Thank you so much for watching the latest video from I Dream of Indie and supporting clickbait-free content. We would now like to shout out our brave indie warriors and legends that keep the lights on here. Thank you to indie warriors Bill T, Christian Cruz, Kevelo, Adriana Amato, CJR, PSC, Julian Colbus, Jesse, Ray Lynn, Marky Mint, Dave Harp, Peekaboo, Lex Noyle, Carmine Red, and King of the Hatch. Those brave indie legends include Jen Rose, Larkison, Mitchell Hall, Eric, Peach, Skepticism, C. Coyle, Nathan Moore, Chris Jackson, Mr. W, and Blue Francis 14. Thank you so much for all that you do for independent developers, publishers, and for I Dream of Indie. Everybody else, head down to the description box below. Let's stop this gaming echo chamber and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.